What's up, Internet, and welcome to the YieldTomato Gaming Channel for another pickups video for 2017. And this time I am focusing specifically on horror games and adventure games. Basically things that would generally involve environmental puzzles of some sort. Kind of rolled into being my theme. So I'm going to start with a game that I've already bought multiple times. I asked myself, do I really want to buy it again? And the answer was, yeah. Just because I'm a huge collector of the series, if you couldn't already tell. And that is the PS4 re-release of Resident Evil Revelations. Yes, I know it's pronounced Revelations, but that's not what my DS cartridge game, it's not what my DS box says. Yeah, I'm not even going to go into much detail about this. If you don't know what Revelations is or how it plays, look it up. Because it's been re-released multiple times at this point. And yes. I don't know. And we're going to continue with the horror trend at the moment. I never really played much of it. Basically, it came and it went for me in terms of seeing it. I never picked it up. I just looked at it. And that is Silent Hill Homecoming. And oddly enough, the 360 Silent Hills are kind of hard to come across. At least from my experience, I had trouble tracking it down. But yeah, so I'm not very familiar with this one. But I looked up a little bit of gameplay and it's like, it looks perfectly fine to me. So I don't know why people harp on the Silent Hill Homecoming and Downpour. Or I don't know, maybe it's only one of them people harp on. I tend to read a lot of fan-based negativity on them. But they review pretty alright, so figured why not. And it's a horror game, and I collect horror games, so, you know. But yeah, Silent Hill Homecoming. Now this next one I was kind of iffy on the first time I played it because it felt almost too different from the original, and that is Contend 2 Bloodshot. The first one felt more appropriate. This one feels a little bit more like their focus is entirely on melee and more about almost a supernatural thing. It's kind of the vibe I get from it a little bit. That being said, still a horror game, still a good time. The bear scene, if you haven't seen it, it totally messes with you a bit, because, I mean, imagine fighting a bear yourself. No, not fun. No thank you. But yeah, the first one is really good. Second one, I'm hoping, is better than I'm remembering. I'm sure it is. Because, you know, nostalgia goggles work both ways. Now, this last horror game I picked up, I don't care what the reviews said. The simple fact is, in the subtitle for it, I was unstoppably intrigued. And that is Ju-on the Grudge Haunted House Simulator. It's a simulator. The Hogagats, man. Yes, I love that it has the gall to say that. And on top of that, it's two-player. Player 2 can actually trigger jump scares and other stuff in the environment, which I think is hilariously awesome. So one of these days I think I'm going to play this with somebody, because just the fact that it calls itself a simulator gets me real good. So that's the horror games I picked up. Next up are adventure games. Although this one's arguably partially platformer, but it comes from the mastermind, or a mastermind, of adventure games, and that is the original Psychonauts on the Xbox. I remember way back when this was supposed to be an exclusive for the Xbox, and ultimately did end up on the PS2 as well, and it fairly recently-ish was kickstarted or greenlit for a actual sequel, so that's super cool. And this game's got a very unique art style and very fun characters. So if you haven't, do yourself a favor and play Psychonauts. And now, we go on to a game that many say felt unfinished and got finished by a Kickstarter crowdfunding. Go figure. And that is Dreamfall: The Longest Journey. I remember hearing about this game back when. I remember seeing little bits on it, but I didn't have an original Xbox back in the day. So I got on that bandwagon wicked late. But I've heard good things about this game in a general sense, so I figured I should get it. So I did. Kind of hard to find complete, which was kind of weird. Kind of like the shenanigans I went through with Dino Crisis 3. Finding that complete took me almost frickin' 2 years because I was determined not to buy it online. I don't know why. But, so yeah, Dreamfall: The Longest Journey. It has an interesting system where, like, you're jumping from world to world through, like, people's dreams. And there's 2 different worlds. And this did also, like I said, get a sequel, which had a lot of similar elements to it. So, yeah. Next is... I don't know if the sequel that this game got was Kickstarted or not, but it took quite a few years for it to happen. And this particular game is Syberia 2. I never played the original Syberia, but I picked up the first one because I thought it was very intriguing. It's a steampunk world with point-and-click adventure, and this is a sequel to it, so figured, yeah, let's get it. I want to experience the whole story when I start playing this. I want to be able to go through the whole thing. And now my most recent thing that I'm trying to track down, which is proving to be a pain in the ass, is the Syberia Complete Collection, which was released on PS3. It is digital for $30 and has trophy support, but I am always persistent on a physical copy if it exists. And it exists. It's just really, really hard to find. So that's kind of like my PS3 White Whale, is the physical copy of that collection. But yeah, a lot of people liked this one more than the first one, so I was kind of intrigued by it. Now, this has not been reviewed very well, unfortunately. But honestly, I'm a sucker for a story at the same time, so I will usually muddy myself through some less than amazing games just to finish the story if it's part of a series. And this one, I have no idea how to feel about it. I watched gameplay of it, and it looked perfectly fine to me, so I don't know why people are harping on it, but who knows, maybe I'll find out when I play it, and that is Syberia 3. You may see a $50 price tag on here. I did not pay $50 for it. So, I'm not keen on paying full retail for a game that I am uncertain about. Yeah, so just another entry in the Syberia series. Supposedly this finally finishes it off, because I guess there were loose ends they didn't finish up in the second game. So now I can experience all of it consecutively, should I choose to. Syberia. And I chose to get it on Xbox One over PS4, simply because the original console releases of Syberia 1 and 2 were on the original Xbox. So yeah, that was my plan for that. And that's it. That's all of my pickups in this video. What did you guys think? Have you experienced any of these games? What were your thoughts on them? Were they terrible, or mediocre, or fantastic? Feel free to leave your thoughts down in the comments below, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all of our latest gaming-related content, including but not limited to more pickups, and, of course, Let's Plays and reviews. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time around.